in the part of the ancient Indian history, we are discussing about the Gupta's period. Gupta's society of the Gupta's period. In the previous videos, we discussed Gupta's sources discussed. After the sources, political history of the Guptas has been completed. Political conditions or polity of the Guptas. That means different kings. We discussed about the different kings, political conditions. After the political conditions, decline of Guptas also completed. We have completed decline of the Guptas. Next, very recently in the previous class, we have completed administration of the Guptas. Administration of Guptas. Now we are coming about the society of the Guptas. Society of the Guptas. After the society, we will go to the economy of the Guptas. After the economy, religion of the Guptas. After the religion, art and architecture, science and technology of the Guptas. Like this, we are going perfectly in one by one, order wise, like a story wise. Yeah, now coming to the point of the society of the Gupta's period. It was very common in the ancient society. We are knowing society of the Gupta's period. Society of the Gupta's period from Fahian and Kalidas. Fahian, Kalidas, dramas, inscriptions and coins. These are the sources of the Gupta's society. We will know the social conditions of the Guptas from the Fahian books, Kalidas, dramas, inscriptions and coins. Manu Dharma Shastra also codified during this period. There were three important circumstances happened during the time of the Gupta's period. In the social divisions and economical development, there are three important developments occurred. Three important circumstances were occurred. One is, this period is marked by the revival of Hinduism under the patronage of Gupta kings. Gupta rulers, they patronized different Hindu poets and they patronized Hinduism like Bhagavatism. Bhagavatism developed during the Gupta's period. Vaishnavism, Saivism, they followed both Vaishnavism and Saivism. They bore the titles of Vishnu. Vishnu is a protector. Most of the times king used to take the title of Vishnu. Next, the foreigners, second one is in the Indian social division. The foreigners like Sekas, Kushanas, Parthians, these were entered into the Indian society. They married Indian women. There occurred mixing of the Indian society. They themselves treated as Indians. They absorbed the Indian society. Sekas, Kushanas, Parthians. That was a intermixing of the Varnas. The persons, the people, those who born to the Sekas or Kushanas or Parthians, foreigners, they were considered as Mlechas. They were considered as Mlechas in Indian society. Third important circumstance which was happened during the time of the Gupta's period, there increased the trade and commerce, brought about the prosperity. Increasing of the trade and commerce brought about the prosperity and raised the living standard of the people. Whenever it raised the living standard of the people, created a rich commercial group, rich trading class. That means different classes were existed in the society. It helped to the growth of different trade centers in India. So mainly the increasing of the trade and commerce, it helped to the development of cities and trading class, development of the trading class, a rich community in the society, Like that, these three circumstances were developed during the Gupta's period. It was most important thing to note the Gupta society. So Brahmins and Kshatriyas, coming to the point of the Indian society of that period, Indian society divided into fourfold Varna society. Indian society was fourfold Varna society. That is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. This Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra is a pyramidal society. This is a pyramidal society. Brahmins were less population. Kshatriyas somewhat more populated than the Brahmins. Vaishyas somewhat more populated than the Brahmins and Kshatriyas. Sudras are more populated people. Nearly 75 to 80% people are Sudras in the society. Vaishyas are around 15%. Kshatriyas and Brahmins, these were around only 5% of the Indian society. So this is what called as a pyramidal Varna system. In this pyramidal Varna system, by the time of Gupta's period, Brahmins equal with Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas made equal with the Brahmins. And along with this, the position of Vaishyas and Sudras, it is increased. The position of Vaishyas and Sudras has been increased. Except Brahmins, remaining all people, there was a migration from one occupation to the another occupation. That is, Sudras, they may go to the trading class. And Vaishyas also can go for the Kshatriyas, like Vaishyas also can rule the kingdoms. For example, Guptas considered as Vaishyas are the Kshatriyas. Sudras, they went to the agriculture and the trade. Sudras, they improved their position in the society. These Sudras, they improved their position in the society. Vaishyas also improved their position in the society. Chandalas, they used to live outside the village. Chandalas are considered as Panchamas. That means other than the four. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, these were the four, that is Chaturvarna. Fifth Varna is Panchama. Chandalas were used to live outside the village. Caste system of this period. Caste system was very liberal this period. Caste system liberalized. Interdining and intercaste marriages were not restricted. They happened. Interdining means taking meals with the lower caste, upper caste people and lower caste people sitting together and taking dinner. That was interdining. Intercaste marriages were happened and there were no restrictions for this. Along with this, if you come to the point of the Vakataka king, Rudrasena, he was originally Brahmin. He was Vakataka king. Rudrasena, he married Brahmin princess. She was Prabhavati Gupta. Prabhavati Gupta married Rudrasena too. Rudrasena too, originally he was Brahmin. If Guptas considered as a Kshatriyas, Kshatriya Brahmana intercaste marriages were happened of that period. So that like that the liberal policies were followed in the society. This was about the social conditions. Coming to the point of position of women during the time of the Gupta's period. Position of women mentioned in the Smriti books, like Smritis, Samhitasu, Amarakosha, Amarasimha wrote Amarakosham, Vatsayana wrote Kama Sutra. All these books are the sources to know about the position of women during the time of Gupta's period. The position of women lowering the status, that means decrease the position of the women of Gupta's period, deteriorated the position of the women during the Gupta's period because of foreign invasions. Because of foreigners, they are going to marry Indian women, Indian girls. That's why child marriages were increased. Lowering the status and child marriages were increased. Girls usually they used to get married before the puberty. Girls they used to get married before the puberty. That was all. Child marriages increased. Child marriages were increased during the time of the Gupta's period. Why the child marriages are increased? Only cause was increasing of child marriages. Foreigners, when they entered into the Indian society, foreigners they started to marry Indian girls. That's why Indians they are going to get married in the early stage. If once Indian girl married any one person, there is no marriage, there is no second marriage. Even foreigners also cannot marry the Indian girls. So because of that, because of protecting Indian girls from the foreigners, they started to get married early, before the puberty. And education only women education people for the only upper caste women went for the education. No Parda system existed of that period. Parda system is there, but not in the strict level. It was liberal. The Parda system was liberal. Sati was also followed. According to Iran inscription of Banu Gupta speaks about Sati. Sati was followed during the time of the Gupta's period. Institution of prostitution and Nagara Vadu. This was Wagyu. This was very popular. Prostitution was recognized institution of that period. Even prostitutes were respected in the society. That means prostitution was recognized institution. Coming to the point of the girls of that period, position of that period, Devadasi system existed. Devadasi system was followed. Devadasi system means girls are dedicated to the temples. The girls, those who dedicated to the temples, they were called as Devadasis. These Devadasis, they would satisfy God with the performance of singing and dancing. Especially these people were dedicated to the temples. No restriction of widow remarriage. That means coming to the point of the Devadasi system. Devadasi system, first time we find in the Malavikagni Mitra. Kalidas, he wrote Malavikagnimitra. In this Malavikagnimitra, first time mentioned about the Devadasi system. And first epigraphical evidence of the Devadasi system was a Ramgar Mama inscription. First epigraphical evidence of Devadasi system is Ramgar Mama. This is a Ramgar Mama inscription, speaks about Devadasi system. Kalidas Malavikagnimitra speaks about the Devadasi system. And whereas coming to the point of the widows, position of widows of that period, widow position of the widows. Widows system was liberated. Widow system was liberated. They can go for the remarriage. If they did not go to the remarriage, they would follow brahmacharya, that is celibacy. This is about position of women during the time of the Gupta's period. Yeah, this is about the Gupta's society, social system of the Gupta's period. Now, after the society of the Gupta's period, next we will discuss about the economy of Gupta's period. Economy of the Gupta's period. Economic system of Gupta's period, there occurred economic prosperity. That's why Gupta's age is considered as a golden age. The age of economic prosperity occurred during the time of the Gupta's period. That's why economically it is considered as a golden age. But common people, the position of the common people was worst. Economic prosperity occurred only during the upper caste, that is Vaisyas and Brahmana Kshatriyas. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya. These people enjoyed economic prosperity, but the position of the Sudras was not in the higher level. Increased agricultural production during this period. They increased agricultural production. Growth of handicrafts and industries were also happened during this period. Growth of industries, handicrafts, industrial expansion of the trade and commerce, both external and internal. Trade of the external trade, internal trade increased during this period. Especially coming to the point of the trade and commerce of Gupta's period, Roman trade declined by the Gupta's time. And Gupta's period, this trade and commerce increased to the Southeast Asian countries. Instead of the Western countries. Western trade was reduced. In India, this is Western trade was reduced, but Southeast Asian trade was increased. Western trade decreased, Southeast Asian trade was increased during the time of the Gupta's period. And main occupation was agriculture. Agriculture was the main occupation of the Gupta's period. Gupta rulers, they helped to the people for the providing irrigational facilities, providing agricultural facilities. They used a Persian wheel in the agriculture for lifting of water from the wells. Lifting of water from the well, they used a Persian wheel, lift irrigation system. And kings gave land grants. They gave land grants to the Gupta's period. Land grants are different types. Agraharas were given to the Brahmins. The areas which were given to the Brahmins is called as Agraharas. The areas which were given to the temples, they were called as Devagraharas. Brahmadeya villages were given to the religious activities. And feudatory lands were given to the employees. These four are more important, asked for several times. Agraharas, Brahmins, Devagraharas, temples, Brahmadeyas for the religious activities, feudatory lands for the employees and army chiefs. Like this, these are most important, asked several times. So, because of the giving land grants to the feudals, increase the feudalism, that is Zamindari system. During the time of the Chandragupta II period, he introduced giving land grants throughout the India. Not only Gupta's dynasty, that is not only for the Pataliputra and surrounding areas, he increased land grants throughout the India. And there were the different types of the lands. Lands were different types. Kshetra, it is agricultural land. Kila, that land left for the agriculture 3 years. That means 3 years once they used to go for the agriculture. Vasti, that was the residential land, domestic area. What is that residential area is called as Vasti. Aparahita, it was a forest land. Aparahita, it was a forest land. And Gopadanarahi or Gopadasara, it was a pasture land. Pasture land was especially the land which was used for the purpose of the cows. That is grassland. Pasture land is a grassland, also called as banjar, that was left for the cows. Gupta's period, they introduced land survey. Gupta's, they, based on the measurement of the land, they collected different taxes. Coming to the point of the agricultural lands, Gupta's period, crown land. Crown land means directly it was under the control of the king. Banjar lands, these were used for the purpose of the giving land grants, donations. Banjar lands, these were giving to the donations to the poor, army officers or Brahmins or temples. After giving that land, they would develop the land as agricultural land. And feudal lands were called as employees or somebody else, they used to give the land. Some types of the lands based on the crops. Lands were divided into different groups. Nividharma, king given land for the farmers by giving all the rights. Every right was given to the Nividharma. Farmers, they can sell the land, they can give land to anybody, like that, every right they have. Nividharma Akshayata. But here, giving land without rights, they won't give right. They cannot sell these lands, they cannot donate these lands to the others. Next, Aprada Dharma. These lands can give or sell to the others. Bhumichidranyaya, these were tax exempted lands, converted banjar lands into agricultural lands. Mainly these lands were the donated lands. Already we discussed that banjar lands used to give donations to the others. So along with this trade and commerce, whatever the economy, if you want to understand the economy, there are two things to understand. One is agriculture, another one is trade and commerce. In any area, in any kingdom, if you want to understand the economy, first is agriculture, second one is trade and commerce. Coming to the point of the trade and commerce, trade was under the control of the guilds, trade guilds. Trade guilds were called as Sreni. They were also called as Sreni. Trade guilds are the occupational groups. Occupational groups. For example, Kolika guild. These were the weavers. Charmakaras. These were leather workers. Lohakara. Metal workers. Goldsmiths. Swarnakara. Goldsmiths. These were the Swarnakara. Like that, different occupational groups were existed. These occupational groups were called as trade guilds. Professional people, they formed their own association, that is what called as trade guilds. Each guild elected its own, each and every guild, they used to elect their own head. That head is called as Sreshti. This Sreshti or Setti, he was a latter period called as Sreshti. He used to be maintain nigamas. Nigamas are the Nagara assemblies. Nagara assemblies are called as nigamas. Important forts of India of that period, ports. We can come to the point of the what is that trade and commerce. They maintained internal trade and also international trade. For the maintenance of the international trade, there were some important ports of that period. Western ports and eastern ports. Some important seaports of the Gupta's period were the Tamralipti, Arikamedu, Kaveripatnam, Barbaricum, Maziris, and Pratishtanapura, Sopara, and Burugukacha. Tamralipti, Arikamedu, Kaveripatnam, Barbaricum. These were eastern seaports. Maziris, Pratishtanapura, Sopara, and Burugukacha. These were the western seaports. Eastern India is famous for the cloth. Western India is famous for the spices and perfumes. That you have to remember. Spices and perfumes. For example, Kerala is a spicy state of India. Kerala, it is a spicy state of India. And these guilds were supervised by the different people. Exports, main exports from India to the foreign countries. Precious stones, perfumes, cloth, drugs, indigo, drugs and spices. These are most important exports. Precious stones, perfumes, cloth, indigo, drugs and spices. We know that perfumes, drugs and spices, these are the main important exports. Important exports from India to the foreign countries, always luxurious items. All are the luxurious items. And most important luxurious item was cloth. Indian cloth of that period. Manufactured from Machilipatnam. A cloth which is manufactured from Machilipatnam, it can be, that is sari which is manufactured in the Machilipatnam can be folded into the matchbox. That was a saying. They used to manufacture cloth with transparent cloth. Transparent, especially it is a more transparent. This more transparent cloth is called as cotton. That is Yavanika. Cotton is called as Yavanika. Indian cloth looks like a cotton. Yavanika. Liked by the Yavanas, that means Romans. And Indian black pepper, especially Indian black pepper, it is called as Yavana Priya. Indian black pepper is called as Yavana Priya. Yavana Priya. So like this, exports and imports were done during this period. These are the important exports. Imports: gold, silver, tin, lead, and horses. We are importing horses from foreigners, especially from the Western India and Arabian countries. Important trade centers of India of that period: Ujjaini, Prayaga, Banaras, Gaya, Pataliputra, Kausambi, Mathura, Peshawar. So these are the important trade centers. Ujjaini, Prayaga, Benaras, Gaya, Pataliputra, Kausambi, Mathura, Peshawar. Mathura is very famous for the wool. Benares is famous for the silk. The Mandsaur inscription, it gives the details about the silk weavers, guilds of the silk weavers, and the corporate activities of that period. This you have to remember, especially Mandsaur inscription. This Mandsaur inscription, it gives the details of the silk weavers and activities of that period. Ivory work was also flourished during that period. A seal found at excavations Bhita, West Bengal, it reveals about the guilds of ivory workers. So if you want to know the ivory work, the most important inscription speaks about the ivory work is the Bhita. Excavated a seal at Bhita, ivory seal. And the art of the jewelry was advanced condition during this period, during the time of the Gupta's period. And the Bruhat Samhita describes 22 jewels. Bruhat Samhita, it describes the 22 jewels. Jewels were used at the period in the large variety of the purposes. So these are the things, important things for the examination point of view. Once again, I am going to repeat this. Benares is famous for the silk. Madurai is famous for the wool. The Mandsaur inscription speaks about the silk weavers. Ivory work. We are knowing from the ivory work a seal found at Bhita. This Bhita seal speaks about the ivory work. The art of the jewelry is an advanced stage. Bruhat Samhita speaks about the 22 jewels of that period, different types of the jewels. Jewels were used at that period, large scale purpose. Ratna Pariksha, it was mentioned the science of testing gems. Ratna Pariksha. Ratna Pariksha was science of testing gems. Technical sciences were used for the utilization of the manufacturing of metals. Vatsayana mentioned about the Rupa Ratna Pariksha, Dhatu Veda, and Maniraga Karagnanam. testing of the precious stones, that is Rupa Ratna Pariksha, smelting of the metals, that is Dhatu Veda, technology of jewels, that is Maniraga Karagnanam, that was testing of jewelry. These were mentioned by the Vatsayana in his book. Huyansang, he also mentioned about the brass, gold and silver. The Mehroli inscription of the Gupta's period, it is the best example of the metallurgy, metal work of that period, because this Mehroli iron pillar inscription, around this belongs to the 410 AD. Till today, it did not get rusted. It is located near, exactly opposite to the Qutub Minar in Delhi. It did not get rusted. It exposed to the nature, it exposed to the water, exposes to the air, exposes to the sun, but did not get rusted because of metallurgy of that period. They used Loha Shastra. Of Acharya Nagarjuna for the making of the metals. The seals, gold and silver coins of this period also reflect the advancement of metal industry of that period. Coming to the point of the taxes, land tax was the main source of income to the state. Land tax always one fourth, that was the 25%. And other taxes, coming to the point of the other taxes, that is Bhaga, 1/6. Bhaga is a 1/6 of the produce. Bhoga, it is a tax in kind. Taxes are both cash and kind. Giving a cash is a gold. That is a gold. Hiranya, tax on the cash. Bali, voluntary tax. It was a very cruel tax. Even though it was a voluntary tax, but was a cruel tax. Halivakara, that is a tax on the plough. Sulka, tax on the traders. Kara, it was a special tax. Udranga, a tax on the water, and that was also called as a police tax. I already said to you, Bali is a very cruel tax of that period. Yeah, this is about the tax system of the Gupta's period. Next, coming to the point of coins of the Gupta's period. Coming to the point of coins of Gupta's period. Guptas were the first rulers in India issued gold coins. They issued the gold coins. They followed Kushana's method. Kushanas introduced the gold coins. Kushana's gold coins method. We already discussed during the time of the sources. Dinar or Suvarna. It was a gold coin of the Gupta's period. Dinar or Suvarna. It was a gold coin of Gupta's period. Rupaka was the silver coin. It was silver coin of the Gupta's period. Silver coin. One gold coin, it is equal to the 15 silver coins. One gold coin is equal to the 15 silver coins of that period. So Fahian described, even sometimes they also used shells as a coins, according to the Fahian. Fahian in his works, he said that described even some cases they used shells as a coins, exchange of the coins. This was mostly used by the common people. Lakshmi, Vishnu, some Lakshmi image, Vishnu image, like that. Some images were minted, images were struck on the coins. Buddhist missionaries, coming to the point of the Buddhist missionaries, they also maintained trade and commerce. Some Buddhist missionaries, they maintained trade and commerce. For example, people they would donate cards to the Buddhist monks. These cards, Buddhist monks, they used for the purpose of the rental purpose. And donations were given to the Buddhist works. They maintained funds. Those funds were given for the purpose of the interest. Like that, Buddhist missionaries, they maintained trade and commerce. They gave money to the traders on interest basis. Yeah, this is about the economy of Gupta's period. By this completed society and economy of the Gupta's period. In the next video, we will discuss about the religion, art and architecture of the Gupta's period. Okay, good luck to you all.